president of the Hayward Arts Council, and I'd like to take a moment and welcome the National League of American Penwomen, or abbreviated as NLAPW. This is their 5th annual NorCal Celebrate Women exhibition.
Well, hello, everyone. And there has been such a renewed excitement within all of our NorCal branches this year. We've had an opportunity to meet each other virtually. And this celebration of women was just phenomenal. We not only got to meet each other virtually, we got to see some extraordinary work done by professional women in our NLAPW organization. I'm so proud of this group to be a member, and I'm truly excited going forward because we're moving in a direction that is making us all step back and want to be a part of this. So I want to thank the Hayward Art Council for always being so supportive of NLAPW.
So very delighted that you chose to invite me, and I bring you all greetings from Washington, D.C., from our Penn Arts building. My subject was to have been the tremendous impact of Zoom on the National League of American Penwomen, and I chose to retitle it to what Zoom, what can I say? And prime about what I can say is what we are doing right this minute. We couldn't be live. We could not have this event live this year. But what an opportunity that we have had to be together in this setting, doing these things, and how amazing it is that we are expanding our horizons as creatives always do. We have learned new technology. And first and foremost, I must say, we have also learned flexibility. Things happen, as you said just moments ago. This is Zoom, after all. We expect to have a glitch here and there. But Zoom has just been of tremendous importance to the league this year. It has kept our branches together in spite of the kicking and screaming that many of our members have wanted to do because they did not want the technology. But everyone is very, very grateful that we have this technology. The one thing that I am so encouraged about is that in this pandemic year, when our branches could not meet on site, when all of our branches have been meeting virtually through Zoom, when our members at large from all across the United States have been able to join with each other and with branches in Zoom meetings. But here's my key point. In this pandemic year, we have added 74 new members. And that is more new members than we added the year before. So don't tell me that we can't adjust. We have something to offer, and Zoom has allowed us to show it from one coast to the other, and it continues to be so. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Sing a song together, stay up all night long together, you and me, you and me, you and me. We could climb a tree together, have a cup of tea together, you and me, you and me. We could bake a cake, take a lazy walk around the lake. We could laugh until our bellies ache. I would scratch your back, you could rub my feet, then you'd rest your head, I would be your retreat. our retreat. You and me, picking apricots and plums together. Play cat's cradle, be all thumbs together. You and me, you and me. Every blossom, leaf, and thorn, see how tangled and how torn. Who's to say where vine begins and trellis loses form? I have memorized your face, you have captured my embrace. Morning glory tightly furled, time to recreate the world. Time to recreate the world. Your face, you have captured my embrace. Morning glory tightly furled, time to recreate the world. Time to recreate the world. You and me, we'll slice the cake, we'll drink the tea together. We'll find our place inside the tree together. You and me, you and me. We are tender, we are torn, naked as the day we're born. Full of life we're thrown into this bright and dark, resplendent storm. I have known you from the start, found you sleeping in my heart. Crashed the timbrel of the horn, every day we are reborn. Every day we are reborn. You and me. You and me, you and me.
Things I miss. Almost more than anything, I miss the company of women. Not just one or two women, but groups of women. All kinds of women. Black, white, Asian, Indian, fat, thin, short, tall. I miss sassy women, classy women, women who will cuss folks out just because they need it. Refined women, most of all, women who are all those things wrapped up in a bow. It doesn't necessarily need to be a fancy affair, but somewhere everybody got ready to go. I miss the hugs, the light scents of perfume, the glint of jewels, lipsticks that are just the right pop of color, compliments on everyone's lips. That's such a pretty, that looks so good on you. I'm so glad you came, and the reminiscing. Remember when, that leads to giggling, that turns into full-on laughter. I miss women laughing, talking, being. I miss the company of women. I miss being in the company of men. Whether they're casual acquaintances, new or old friends, it's in those moments that meaningful friendships begin. There's nothing like a group of women, but when men are added to the mix, the atmosphere changes and the energy shifts. It's the cadence of their words. It's the timbre of their voices. It's the stories they choose to tell. There's culture and folklore in their choices. Whether they're shooting the breeze or playing the dozens, they're like brothers, uncles, or favorite cousins. Whether getting together over cocktails or coffee, paper plates or on a silver platter, it's the company you keep. It's the people who really matter. More than anything, I miss going about my business with a casual ease, sharing smiles with strangers, just as random as I please. I miss turning on the TV, assuming everything is good. I miss crowding into spaces, probably closer than we should. I miss thinking the best of others while assuming they think the best of me. I miss taking things for granted, assuming that's how they'd always be. But then that was then, and now is now, so we'll do exactly as we're told. And we'll do our best to keep our world from growing cold. We'll wear our masks, avoiding the violence and the hate, and pray for better days. We'll smile with our eyes and use our words, spreading goodwill in thoughtful ways. Hate and violence aren't really new. They seem to be on the rise. But it's the worldwide pandemic that took us completely by surprise. All that said, I guess it's oblivion I really miss. Maybe ignorance truly is bliss.
Family 21373, Tsuyako Saks, Kitashima, 1918 through 2006. The wind sprays dust through the cracks, coating us on our cots. My teeth grate against sand. The child in the next room wails. Too hot to sleep, I imagine the past. The house in California, the land my parents were not allowed to own. They truck farmed strawberries, lettuce, celery, tomatoes, and cauliflower. After Japanese language school, my brothers and sisters and I joined them in the fields. My sister and I plowed, one holding the reins, the other holding the plow. Rainy evenings, I played piano. My mother was always singing. I remember Oshogatsu, the men pounding rice, the women shaping mochi. Perhaps that year, 1941, someone forgot. Perhaps someone swept. Ministers and teachers disappeared. Police shone spotlights through our kitchen windows. Radios and cameras were confiscated. On telephone poles, notices appeared announcing the evacuations. We could only take what we could carry with 2 hands. We sold the tractor and the car, the furniture and piano for a pittance. Our old horse that used to pull the plow was destroyed. The bus took us to Tanforan. We slept on hay in a horse stall heaped with manure. For 3 months we were incarcerated behind barbed wire. Then soldiers holding guns took us by train to this concentration camp. "Don't go near the fence," the guards yell. Mr. Wakasa walked too close. He died, shot in the chest. The wind shrieks. I pull on my boots and tiptoe past my sleeping family. At the toilets, a young mother stands in line with her daughter. The girl clutches her doll, a Daruma with one eye. This eye is the girl's wish. Our wish. How long must we wait before she can draw the second eye?
Okay, hi, I'm Pat Doyne. I'm going to be reading you a poem, The Great Wave Off Kanagawa. This is a poem about an artwork by Katsushika Hokusai. He was a Japanese artist, an ukiyo-e painter, and a printmaker. And his woodblock print, The Great Wave Off Kanagawa, is from a series, 36 Views of Mount Fuji. The Great Wave Off Kanagawa. A huge blue wave rears up, arches its back, claws at the sky, crests, and freezes. Time stops in that last instant before cataclysmic crash. Framed by the great wave, Mount Fuji poses, afar, aloof, eternal. This snow-capped cone has seen waves come and go, oarsmen come and go, samurai come and go, emperors come and go. In Hokusai's time, Japan's shell was breaking open. New ideas, new neighbors, imports, exports, uncharted waters. But even when promise lights up the horizon, even when the odds are in your favor, a sea of Prussian blue can sneak up, swell, rise, ambush the unwary, sink the best laid plans. Fuji watches with Olympian indifference. Beneath the giant wave, tiny men in a longboat row for their lives. Ants beneath a raised foot. But the wave never crashes down. Karma is stalled by pen and ink on a woodblock print. The oarsmen row forever towards a safety forever out of reach. This is the floating world, ukiyo-e, the great wave off Kanagawa.
In the months and years since our son died, I've had many dreams about him that have brought both joy and sorrow. But there were a few in particular that stood out. Each dream was vivid and lifelike and conveyed the feeling of my actually having spoken to and spent time with Ryan. In all three, I was fully conscious that our son was dead and had committed suicide. But yet, by some miracle, I was actually interacting with him. The first occurred soon after he died. I really didn't know what I believed as far as an afterlife was concerned, but I had watched enough scary movies to make me leery of glimpsing any apparitions, even ones that might be as familiar as Ryan. A childhood fear of the supernatural was woven into this dream. And in it, I was alone, standing in the kitchen of our home, when I heard slow footsteps coming down the front hallway. An eerie creak and clomp with each step on the wooden floor. In the dream, I guessed that the sounds were made by Ryan and felt terror at the possibility of seeing or confronting his spirit. He might even be angry with me for somehow not saving him or having been the mother he needed me to be. Skirting around the hallway, I made my way to the front door, where I stood facing whatever was coming. Ryan appeared with a male companion as they walked side by side up the long hallway toward me. The companion reached into his pocket. I was afraid he was pulling out a weapon of some kind. Maybe a knife, but instead, he handed me a small wooden crucifix. Ryan was wearing a drab brown t-shirt over brown pants and seemed somber and a bit worn out. He came close, gently put his hands on my shoulders and looked me in the eyes. Then he said, "I'm okay." He emphasized the last word in a way that helped me to fully understand. Ryan was not cheerful or wonderful, but he was no longer suffering or in pain. My fear dissolved as I sadly smiled at him, and the two of us hugged. I was astonished at how solid he felt when I put my arms around him, for even in the dream I knew he was dead. I woke with the understanding that he truly was safe, and that wherever he was not alone. Dream number 2 came one night a few months later. Again, Ryan was dead, but it seemed very lifelike. This time he was dressed in the clothes he last wore, the ones he was found in. A black fleece jacket, black pants, and black shoes. In the dream, we were arguing about his suicide. I was adamantly against what he had done, while Ryan was advocating for the validity of his actions. He was emphasizing that there were many sides to the story of suicide. He pointed out that taking his own life had stopped his pain, that this would be an understandable and acceptable act if he had been a cancer victim. In the end, we hugged, and again, he felt solid and real. We each said, "I love you," before I woke up. I was left with the sensation of having just spoken with him and of having truly spent time together. A few years later, I had the third dream. In it, I went to find Ryan instead of waiting for him to find me. I traveled to wherever he was, somewhere on the other side. Crouching off to the side of a path among vast green lawns and rolling hills, I spotted Ryan approaching and watched as he walked by. He was wearing a shirt, tie, and dark suit and was moving with purpose towards some sort of event about to happen, something he was to be a part of. He seemed surprised when he saw me there. We hugged, and again he felt like an actual person. I could see that he was now in a better place than ever before, fully engaged in what he was doing, and not the loner he was when he was alive. I awoke from that dream feeling a deep peace and a sense that Ryan truly was still somewhere out there. I didn't know exactly how that was possible, and I still had plenty of skepticism. But the 3 dreams helped me reconcile what had happened and come to a lighter place with it all.
like to read a poem from my new book called Prompts That Make Your Poetry Dance. And here it is. This is called Fresh Poetry Prompts. The well-caught truth is a thing of beauty, greatness, and interest. A prompt brings freshness to bloom, a budding surprise, a blissful flash. Actuality and character, temperament and temperature are stirred together. The mix feels right. The poem moves the mind and pen. The poet attempts the walk on the waters, observant and above the turbulence of emotion. Emergence with desire to rise sets the tone and stirs to focus. Essence pairs with emotion, words and motion. Energy and intrigue step to the challenge, pierce the stillness. The dancing spirit responds with reference, suggestion, allusion, and a multitude of connection. Reason is linked and fathoms braved. Each poem informs and selects dialects. The senses fill with kinetic perception. Attractions are straight to the heart. Some are chemical, others are built on history, past and in the making. Each poet writes to the rises and crashes of weathering tides. Relationships are often imaginative, full of surprise and energized. Each challenge must cross the mind and stir the depths. Rhythm and count is intuitive. Each approach that has told, that tells and may tell, invests in shares of the dance of humanity. Poets are ready and prompted with seasoned maturity. Connections created, thoughts innovated, and aha discoveries are written to action. First drawn from the seas of the cosmos, poetry breathes the breath and depth of the oceans of essence. This poetry is well served and is powerful and is always fresh.